Thank you for coming on by, and those of you that are not subscribed, please consider subscribing, hitting that notification bell, and if at any time that you're watching this and you want to hit that like button, please do so. That helps out the channel. Today, we're going to take a look at the Vive Pro 2. Today is about looking at the specs, what you need, and what you can do with a lower end graphics card, things like that. So let's dive into the specs, what I think are pros and cons of this particular Vive Pro 2 headset. First of all, let's just get right to the point and the cost. The cost, at least on the Vive website, is $7.99, as you can see. You can go ahead and purchase that through there, or you can go to Amazon. Amazon has it for $1,000. The way I see it already, this headset by itself is too expensive, especially if it wants to be competitive, let's say, to the Oculus 2. I'm not a big fan of the Oculus 2 and using it, but for those that are new and don't have a PC VR, I mean, it's not a bad entry level idea if you don't mind Facebook being in your business. So that's one of the cons. I'm going to go with the cons first and then go with the pros. I like ending things on a positive note if I can. So another con here, aside from it being expensive just for the headset, is the graphic specs if you actually want to run the 5K screen at 5K. Okay, that's what you're going to do basically, and I'm going to just come out and say it, is you're going to have 20 and above, or an AMD 5000 Navi or above. That is the minimal specs. Unless you upgraded your PC recently with one of those two, if not higher, then you're not going to get the 5K. That's that simple. Then next, what you're going to need is a DisplayPort 1.4, which those cards will have, and then a cable that is 1.4 and or with DSC. Next, you're going to need USB-C 3.2 Gen 2 in addition to your graphics card in order to reach these resolutions. Now, a lot of reviewers out there are not going into depth here, and this is what I want to do here, is try to cover those things that other people haven't, and why I personally am not getting the headset itself. Next big thing, and this is the big thing for me, is wireless. It's not wireless. Wireless to PC, like you can do with your Oculus and the Oculus Link, as well as other programs that are out there. Now, that may be getting a little picky, but I have to be, along with a whole bunch of other people that have ITX builds. For the Vive, for another $300, if not more, depending on where you get the wireless setup and what you get with it, you need to have a PCIe slot open. And if you know ITX builds, you're not going to have that. So there's already a big negative for people like me that have these type of builds. Vive dropped the ball. They dropped the ball. And here's why. They had a Focus 3 come out, which is basically your Oculus 2. It's wireless. They can hook up to the PC if they want to through the wireless. I was at ViveCon, and one of the speakers did say that they are trying to work out some latency problems on the business side applications, things like that, for that. But they have the technology and they're working on it. My rub here is, why didn't they just release both? One, the Focus 3, and let's say the Focus 3G for gaming, and have it be able to be used with Steam. Now, I'm not sure what the development side of that is, things like that. I know that all costs money, and already Vive is focused on business. Just if you're a gamer, don't expect much out of Vive or any love in that aspect, except for this Vive Pro 2. And I'll explain that a little bit later as well. So Vive dropped the ball on the Focus 3 being a Focus 3G also. My outlook on this is why they haven't done it is they're looking to regain the R&D costs. This Focus 3 is $1,300. You and I know we're not going to pay that for a gaming VR headset. Will businesses pay it? Depending on their budget, and what they're going to use it for, and if it all fits in their plan, in other words. So that is my big rub from Vive. This with that Focus 3 coming out like that, and they could have just done a Focus 3 G as well. Now, and that would have solved my problem with not having enough PCI slots, or any at all, unless you want to take a look at the graphics card PCIe slot, which I'm going to use for the graphics card. Come on, let's be real. Now, there's a couple things that are not on this headset, and we're just gonna just one of them, which is eye tracking. There's a lot of hype right now in the VR area for eye tracking and the utilization of it. So that is one thing I'm not too hyped about. I like to keep my eyes with me and nowhere else, but it could do. Here's a good example. What it can do is, if you look up and to the right instead of moving your head, it will follow that, and the software that's following it will clear that up for your vision instead of just seeing that blur when you look up. In other words, making it more realistic in that manner. Another thing here, and I have a really beefy system. Some people are not going to have it, some people are, but some people will also be like, I don't need any more processes running more than needed. And this Vive Pro is going to require you to use Vive Portal. So that's one more thing running on your computer, not to mention Steam, the streaming software you have to use, the overlay software if you're using any of those while streaming, things like that. So the requirement of the Vive port having to be ran in order to utilize Steam is another negative thing. Now, a lot of people are going to say this is an obvious one. If you buy the whole set, what is great for me is that you still have the old wands. Do they work? Yeah. Are they immersive? No, not really. But I think they could have did one better. They're already putting the satellite 2.0s in there, the base stations, in other words, that are basically a Valve thing. Why not put the knuckles in there? Maybe they didn't want to partner that much with Valve. Who knows? Another thing is the graphics. And I hit on this quite a bit, but I just want to say, for those that are upgrading, let's say like myself, if I went out and bought it, it would be for the 5K resolution, things like that, which we'll go over in a little bit here. But in order to do that, you have to have that graphics card, and the wires I mentioned. Now, right now, getting a graphics card like that, 20 series and above, or 5,000, good luck. You're going to have to be the luckiest person in the world to be able to just go online and buy one at this point. So, bad timing for that, basically. That's all there's to it. So that's as far as I'm going to go into that. Oh, so upgrade path really isn't that exciting. Now, with all those cons, I know it's a long list. This is why I'm not getting one and why I actually advise nobody. Yeah, this would be a okay upgrade for you if you can handle all that. IDP is very nice from what I understand. I haven't seen it. I've watched plenty of reviews that people have, so that is something you can look forward to. If I remember correctly, they brought it in even closer than, I believe it was 60, further down to like 58 or something like that. They're trying to accommodate the people with us eyes closer, in other words, to each other. Let's see here. Let's see, resolution. The field of view. What they've done with the screen is made it wider so that you have a wider field of view, but it's a little bit shorter. So you get some, then you lose a little bit. Not much though, not much. From what I understand from other people that have received the review samples, that was not an issue for them, not at all. Another positive thing here is that they kept the same strap. The comfortable strap that comes with the Pro is with the Pro 2. So that is another thing you can look forward to if you've experienced it before. From what I understand, I have not experienced it. I'm not a real audio buff. Is the headsets. Okay, the external headsets. I personally would use these. These are better than what you would get with the headset. So I would just pop those off right away. I would probably, to be honest, I'd probably try them out, see how good they are. But I want to be immersed. I want my ears covered. I don't want to know what's going on around me outside of my VR. Now here's another thing. Some people may not, or they may want this, but it's 120 hertz. Yes, 120 hertz as opposed to the 90 hertz, which I get with my original Vive and the Vive Pro 2 has. So that is a nice little jump to 120. It makes things a lot smoother. People are asking me, what has changed over the last few years in VR? And I can honestly say that programming has gotten a lot better. In other words, you're not seeing as much as the motion sickness, things like that. And a lot of the programmers, a lot of the games will have motion sickness values, options where you can engage it and you can adjust. In some games you can adjust an incremental to see what's best for you. So that is one of the things over the last 4 years that I have seen actually happen and am very happy about. Matter of fact, I was just asked on a forum if they should get one. They tried it way back, VR that is, arcade style, and they had motion sickness like nobody's business. So that was a problem for them. Now, will this still be a problem for them? It might be, but most likely I see it not being a problem for most people. And last but not least, if you do get the full setup, you will be getting the base station 2s, which is an upgrade from the ones. So you get that, but it's still at a very big cost. And between the Vive Pro and the Vive Pro 2, Vive has basically done what Apple has done with their phones and just said, here's an upgrade, here's version such and such for, and then going up to such and such, and just give them a nicer screen. You know, maybe a little faster hertz. What's the big deal? You know, I see this as, why don't I go and buy a Valve one? Why don't I just go out and get an Index? You know, Valve Index. It's a no-brainer for me. If I need one, let's say this dies, my Vive dies today, I'll go out and buy an Index before this thing, because I can get one between $500 and $600. Not to mention, I don't have the requirements for the 5K, so it's not worth it to me. Like I said, Vive, you missed a good opportunity. Don't know why you passed it up. You could have really destroyed the Oculus if you would have made the Focus 3G and made it affordable. So that's my review on it. That's my take on it. I'm sure if you have the hardware, it's an amazing experience. I'm sure of it. 5K, you know, how much clearer can you get? I just did remember something else. A con still have the same type of ring goggles. Those are still the same. So you're still gonna get somewhat of a screen effect. I do not know why Vive did not go to the Index type of goggles. Not sure why they're still sticking with the old stuff that my original Vive has. The Vive Pro 2 should be a bust as far as I'm concerned. It's Vive failing again in the VR gaming community. So that's my take. And if you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any comments, please put them down below. Let's get a discussion going. And this is Chris saying out.